Corey Perlman is one of our favorite guests. He's a social media keynote speaker. He's the owner of Impact Social Media, Inc. And of course, you can go to CoreyPerlman.com, ImpactSocialMedia.com. He's also a keynote speaker, and he joins us once again on The Big Biz Show. Good to see you, man. How are you?
I am excellent, Sully. Good to be back. Thanks for having me.
What is, Mary, if I said, or Greg, if I said to you UGC, you know what that means?
UGC.
Yeah, me neither. Look at, what is it? What's UGC?
What's it mean?
User-generated content.
Corey, what is
right?
I think you're right, because I'm looking at the notes here. Corey, what is user-generated content? What is that?
It is exactly that. It's when other people post about you instead of you posting about yourself.
Wait a minute. User-generated content.
So
the user, not the star-generated content.
That's right.
No, like when people are using the Sullivan sound to their
we've got some places that are with 1,800,000 followers using our song "Oh California."
That would be considered user-generated content, right, Corey?
This is an important thing.
Correct.
Yeah. Or people that take their pictures here when they're at a taping of the show and then they post it and they tag Loft 100 Studios. Then that's user-generated content, and we could reach out to them and say, hey, can we use your
Let's go back to Sullivan Music. Do I get paid for that? Am I getting any dough for that?
No.
Is there any cake for that?
Actually, potentially because the growth on Spotify, right, Corey?
You get exposure, Sully, and
right.
unfortunately you can't take exposure to the bank, but you do get exposure.
Oh, you can. You just need to know how.
Yeah, take that.
So this is getting others to post about you. Is there any best practices about that?
Yeah, I would say make it as easy as possible. People are more motivated when they're unhappy than when they're happy. So when people are happy, you need to ask them, hey, would you mind posting about that on your socials? Tag us. We would love to see it, and we'll respond to it.
There was a time when people were putting their Instagram handle on everything and QR codes became a big thing, and I think they're still a big thing. Do you still promote that and say, hey, you should have QR codes where people can scan it and takes you right to the Instagram handle or right to their page where you can engage in that sort of way?
100%. QR codes became huge over the pandemic, and they haven't stopped. It makes it easy for you to be able to snap a picture on your phone and go right to their handle. And don't make it hard for them. Make it easy for them to be able to go and talk about your business. And keep in mind, it's more credible and a better testimonial when it comes on their page than when it comes from your own.
So this is like earned media for yourself, for example, like this television show. Like you don't pay to be on this show. You come on because you're valuable to us as content, as a content provider for television and for radio. So this is earned media for you, but this is almost but on the social media side, it's earned exposure. And
correct. And Sully, a 2-second story for you real quick. The El Cortez Casino, I've been thinking about this recently. Casinos are known to not let people photo or videotape in their casinos. El Cortez has turned that on its head and lets people go in and shoot their winnings and celebrate and all that in their casino, and they're kicking butt on it. So my takeaway from that is make it easy for people, allow people to come into your place of business, shoot photos and video, and let them do the marketing for you.
So, Corey, how does El Cortez do it? Do they ask people to post that content, or do they just simply allow it, and by allowing it, people post
They
it?
give them a free chip?
They just allow it. In the olden days, even a few years ago, you took your phone out, you'd get banned from that casino.
Oh, that's right.
Hey, boss would
right.
come over and whack you.
Yeah. So now they just let you do it. They have fun with it. And now their casino customers are their best advocates, and they're growing because of it.
Corey, to follow on Greg's question, do you just ask them? For example, we have a live audience in here for another television show that we do every week, and there's probably anywhere from 20 to 40 people in here along with the crew and the on-air and the band and everything else. Is it just a matter of going, hey, will you please post about us? Is that too, are we begging? Is that bad form, or what?
So I think it's all about timing. I think that if they're in the right mode, they're having a good time, they're kind of the pinnacle of their experience, that's the perfect time to ask. And then, as we said earlier, make it easy. Tell them to take a selfie with you guys and the band. Tell them to post it. And then the last thing is use your hashtag, whatever that might be.
Corey, talking about that, I just flashed back to the selfie spot days when people created selfie spots.
What's a selfie spot?
It was like a spot at maybe a hotel or maybe here. It's our 360.
Did they use a narcissistic?
Yeah, and the narcissistic, exactly. And it was just like selfie spot, and then you'd post it. But do you think it's tacky to say, hey, post about us and then be entered to win? Are people still doing those kind of contests where you could win something or gamification of the sharing?
They are, because the bottom line is if you leave people to their own accord, they're not going to do it. We have the best intentions, but we're busy people. So if you incentivize me with a little thank you gift, a little bribery, doesn't hurt and motivates people to take action.
Hey, Corey Perlman is his name. He is a social media keynote speaker, and you can go to CoreyPerlman.com or you can go to his website, ImpactSocialMedia.com. You mentioned something at the beginning of the interview, and that people are more motivated when they're unhappy than when they're happy. It goes, people lament their losses 3 times more than they celebrate their gains. Look no further than the San Diego Padres, who lost to the Dodgers. We're still worried about that. Had they won, we would be way past it already and thinking of the next game. If people are more motivated when they're unhappy, it makes me think that maybe we try to give them a bad experience here or something like that and make them, how do you leverage that in the right direction, I guess is my question.
That's a question for another segment, Sully. I would say that real quickly, don't be defensive. Don't get in an argument online because people are just waiting to fire back at you. Try to fix the problem. You can turn a critic into a champion. So if you help the person, they can become your biggest advocate and they'll turn their negative review into a positive one. And sometimes that's the best feedback you can get.
So here's a question on that. And I want to talk about Yelp, okay?
Yep.
I don't have a habit of reviewing unless somebody really ticks me off.
You don't do it if it's great experience?
No.
Speaking of, that's what you're talking about,
But
right?
the point is that because of the footprint I have in this town, if I put my name down, because all my accounts are under Sully, they're not under Robert Sullivan, I tend to try not to do that. Now, how do you feel about the Yelp reviewing versus in a good way and a bad way? Is that slippery slope on the bad side because somebody cuts off your finger when you're over at the nail salon? I'm assuming you should have something to say about it.
Yeah, Yelp can tend to look more negative because a lot of times more negativity on there than positivity. The one thing I'll tell business owners is people are savvy. So we can sniff out reviews that seem like maybe it was from your competitor, maybe it was just somebody you couldn't satisfy or whatever. As long as you are diplomatic and sincere with your response, the end user nowadays is real savvy to the people who are just trying to get a free meal.
Hey, Corey, before I let you out of here, we never asked you, what's your next gig? How do people get a hold of you and get involved? Or what's your next speaking gig and how come people come see you?
Actually, I'm going to be out in San Diego, first Utah, and then I'm coming out to San Diego near Thanksgiving. So I'm hoping to be able to get a seat on that chair over there.
You're getting here. We're taking it for the whole hour. Come on, man. We're getting all kinds of free advice.
I'm looking forward to it.
I got the questions already going.
No, seriously, we'll do a whole hour with you. We'll spend the entire day seeing, we'll be asking about a friend the entire time.
Yeah.
So, Corey, this music website, this television show website.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Thank you, man. Corey Perlman, of course. CoreyPerlman.com. All right, much more Big Biz Show coming up. Stand by.